Hi everyone, my name is Matt. I'm the youth and family pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield, here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. Well, have you ever had those moments when you've been online, maybe you're trying to purchase something, or maybe you're signing up for some sort of subscription or service or something like that, and of course you got to put in some personal information, email, phone number, maybe you got to put in a debit card, credit card, whatever it might be. But then before you actually get to enjoy the service or the subscription or purchase the thing, oftentimes, of course, there is this box and it's got very small writing and it's got a lot of writing and you have to scroll through it. And of course, at the very end of that, there's a little checkbox that you have to check if you want to move on and actually use the service you're purchasing, right? And that little checkbox often says something like, I have read and I agree to all the terms and conditions, right? And I'm sure, just like me, you do indeed read every single word before you check that box, right? Probably not. Well, friends, as we move into Deuteronomy chapter 11, Moses continues to talk to the Israelites and let them know that there are some terms and conditions for them to follow as they move their way in to the promised land. Of course, Moses will not be going in with them. He's been told by God that, yes, Moses, you can see it, but you may not enter. And so he wants to make sure as the Israelites go into the promised land that they know the terms and conditions, but not just know them, that they actually follow them. And that's going to be very important for how their life is going to be lived there. So in Deuteronomy chapter 11, as you begin there, maybe you've already read it today, but Moses, first of all, is reminding them of all that God has done in their lives and in their forefathers' lives and how he brought them into Egypt as a very, very small people of 70. And then he had brought them out with as numerous as the stars in the sky, and how he's delivered them over and over and over again and brought them through the desert. Now they're on the cusp of the promised land. And he reminds them of this promised land and how it's flowing with milk and honey and how everything there that they will use to sustain them and to enjoy in life is from God and what he himself has provided. And then come the terms and conditions as we move into verse 13. I'm going to read a good chunk here because I think it's very helpful for us to understand what's going on in Israel's story and life, but also perhaps how we can apply it to our own life as well. So here we go. Deuteronomy chapter 11, starting in verse 13. Moses says, here's the terms and conditions, right? So if you faithfully obey the commands I am giving you today, to love the Lord your God and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, then I will send rain on your land in its season, both autumn and spring rain, so that you may gather in your grain, new wine, and oil. I will provide grass in the fields for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. Verse 16, be careful, or you will be enticed to turn away and worship other gods and bow down to them. Then the Lord's anger will burn against you. He will shut the heavens so that it will not rain, and the ground will yield no produce, and you will soon perish from the good land the Lord has given you. Fix these words of mine in your hearts and minds. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Teach them to your children, talking about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Write them on the doorframes of your houses and on your gates, so that your days and the days of your children may be many in the land that the Lord swore to give your forefathers, as many as the days that the heavens are above the earth. Verse 22. If you carefully observe all these commands I'm giving you to follow, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, to hold fast to him, then the Lord will drive out all these nations before you, and you will dispossess nations larger and stronger than you. Every place where you set your foot will be yours. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon and from the Euphrates River to the western sea. No man will be able to stand against you. The Lord your God, as he promised you, will put the terror and fear of you on the whole land wherever you go. And then we wrap up with this. See, I'm setting before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing if you obey the commands of the Lord your God that I am giving you today. The curse if you disobey the commands of the Lord your God and turn from the way that I command you today by following other gods, which you have not known. Did you hear all the if then? Did you hear the conditions? In very simple terms, Moses is exhorting the people to obey the Lord their God. Because if they obey, if they follow him, all that he has promised will come. All the blessing will come. The curse will go away and the blessing will come. Friends, it's important for us to understand that the love of God indeed is unconditional. But there's still terms and conditions as we trust him. If we obey, blessing comes. If we disobey, blessing doesn't come. And there's a need to repent and to come back and to restart as God is there for us and waiting for us to repent and come back to him. So friends, just like the Israelites, let's make it our goal to follow the terms and the conditions that God sets before him, especially that of obeying him, to love him with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our strength, and with all of our mind. Friends, have a great day, and we'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.